Somebody else has it. He's like getting
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming. This is a great turnout for tonight. We're going to try and move things along at a very quick pace with a little bit of singing in the background, just because we do want to dedicate a good portion of the meeting to the public safety concerns that have really arisen in the last few weeks. And but there is so much going on in our neighborhood, so we're gonna try and cover everything. If I miss something, somebody raise their hands and let me know, and I'll try and follow the agenda, but sometimes I go astray. The first thing we need to do, and this is just administrative, we have had 2 meetings, one in June and one in July, that we did not get around to approve the minutes. And I know that most of you, maybe 100% of you, have not seen the minutes, but we have reviewed them with the board and the executive committee. And just administratively, I would move to approve the minutes and any corrections that have been made. Can I get a second? And third. Thank you very much. I'm going to start off the meeting just talking about a few of the things that we need volunteers for. So we have some events coming up, and we have holiday festivities, lots of festivities going on during mainly December, and some in November. November we have a fall cleanup, and can you get the little clipboard from all the volunteers? And we'll pass that around for your opportunity to sign up and help with the fall cleanup. With holiday festivities, we're going to be lighting a tree in the park again, and having children come and sing, and maybe a little caroling. We're going to have a wreath making class at the bathhouse. We're going to be doing a number of things, and we need volunteers to help with all of that. We also have Party for the Park coming up. You're going to hear more about that. But if we have volunteers who could step in and help with that evening, we could still use some extra hands. So Brendan is going to pass around the clipboard with the sign-up sheet. The other thing we actually need is a volunteer coordinator. So if someone is interested in helping us a lot and figure out where volunteers will go and keep track of that, we need someone, one of the committees for a volunteer coordinator. We need another person to help be a city liaison. We have so much going on with the city, with the parks, and we would love to have extra hands for that as well. So all of those are gonna be coming around. Oh, I know the other thing we really need is a photographer. We have Cam, who helps Preston, who helps us so much with video, videoing events and all, but we need someone who's willing to come to a number of the events, take pictures in the neighborhood, in the business area, children's parade and picnic, holiday festivities. So if someone, you don't have to be a professional photographer, amateur is just fine with us, if you'd be interested in signing up for that. So let's start with a financial report from Diane.
Well, we have money. Actually, there is a summary financial report up front here if you would like to see more detail. But, so our year is a calendar year, and year to date as of August 31, we have raised $57,752. We've expended $48,000. So we're $9,000 ahead of cash-wise, where we were at the end of 2023. So our cash balance is about $34,000 right now. I will say that we're in process of developing our accounting systems. We finally got a general ledger, and I'm working with Brendan on integrating donor software, but we're still trying to work out some of the kinks. So I would like to expand the reporting so we can see income and expense by events, just as part of a general ledger. So we're working on that. We're filing all of our returns and whatnot that are required. We have a couple of insurance policies coming up for renewal, directors and officers and commercial liability that are underway, no problems there. Emily and I, we have a grant from the city of Seattle to fund part of music in the park. And it's a reimbursement grant, which means we have to submit receipts. So we were talking about that. So when I talk about the revenue that we've raised, it does not include the $5,000 from that grant. Yeah. So that's on its way. And yes, I would say we're ahead of the game.
Yes. Yes.
Where did that grant come from?
City of Seattle Department of Neighborhoods.
Becky Boverall, you want to come up and tell us about our one fundraiser for the year?
As you can see, we have our banner hung up, and I hope you've seen them around town too, and in the businesses, and it's Party for the Park, and it's going to be in 2 weeks on October 12th. It's Saturday. It's going to be at the Seattle Tennis Club, and we have food, we have drinks, we have dessert, we have music, and then there's amazing silent and live auction items. I'm sure you've gotten emails about it if you're on our newsletter list, and I have some postcards here if anybody needs to tell their neighbors about it. We really need people to go ahead and register for their tickets. I've heard a lot of people saying, oh yeah, I need to get my ticket, but it's in 2 weeks, so please go get your ticket, because they will, hopefully sell out. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know. We could use a couple more volunteers. Our volunteer coordinator, Jamie, is here, and she can take your information and get you involved in the event. It should be just a really wonderful night, and hopefully we'll have some beautiful views like we did all day today. And yeah, I hope to see you there. And all the proceeds are going to go to what Diane was just talking about, putting it back in our bank account so we can hold all of these amazing events that we have been having that are free, most of them, to the community.
Can you tease any of the auction items or the goodie bag items?
Tease some of the auction items. I was wondering if somebody would ask. We do have some incredible sports tickets to Krakens, Mariners, Seahawks. There's Levant has put together a beautiful package. It's a local business that does soaps and things like that, and it's incredible. We have lots of other local businesses, Red Wagon, lots of wellness and beauty businesses, Also, Ethan Stoll will be doing a cooking class and with his ESR chefs at a local home. So that's going to be a really big ticket item during our live auction. We've got a painting class by our own artist, Anne Woodford. She's going to be doing a class for 10 people. It's going to include some snacks and dessert and wine. So that'll be a really fun item. And what else? Oh, getaways, sorry. We have a Winthrop house, Meadow Valley house, that is absolutely lovely. I believe it's skiing, very close to the ski. Yes. I have not been up to Winthrop, so maybe we've got a stay at a Montage Resort, a couple of nights at a Montage Resort, and there's a lot of those to choose from. It's absolutely fabulous. I'm on the spot here. Yes, the Four Seasons. That's one of our incredible items. 2 nights at the Four Seasons with a view. You also get some credits to $500 credit to the spa and dining, as well as tickets to the Paramount, to the new Back to the Future musical in club access to those seats. So I hear some oohs and ahs. You gotta come. I got a bid. Yes.
You have, can you buy raffle tickets and not attend, okay?
No, but I'm glad you mentioned raffle tickets.
Or whatever, like.
These are all silent auction and live auction items, but I'm glad you mentioned raffle tickets because we do have a raffle. It's $50 for a ticket. You do have to be present at the event, and it's for $1,000 to canvas. So yeah, pretty great, right? Yeah, thank you to our procurement team led by Anne for getting all of these items donated, and we have some incredible sponsors. You can see them at the bottom here. Yes. Sponsors who are helping us make this extra special. We have Leon Vaughn, orthodontics. They are our platinum sponsor. Morgan Stanley is our gold sponsor, and then we have 4 silver sponsors. It's McKinney Group, Queen Plumbing, Woodside Travel, and the Holiday Lighting Company. So, yeah, it's pretty great, right? I hope to see you all there.
Yes, my tickets tonight.
So then,
Eric, yeah, Eric, you can speak to the McGilbert closure.
Yes.
Potential closure.
Potential.
We are fighting.
So I just wanted to come representing the McGilbert PTA and say that we are fighting hard against the closures, but I think what I want you all to know is, 1, it's not final. So the proposals that were put out are just proposals. So we have to remember that, and now is the time to let our school board know how we feel about this, how important McGilbert is to this neighborhood, to the families that live here, and that we want our neighborhood school. We do not want a vacant building in our neighborhood. We want McGilbert. We do not want the one-size-fits-all that the school board is going after. So I have a few forms here on how you can get involved. The most important thing you can do is email the school board, and we can give you tips. We can talk to you about McGilbert. Beautiful school. I live across the street. So this is very, very important for our neighborhood. And we have forms that if you want to put up in your windows or stores, we are here to help. But again, it is not final, so this is the time. This is the time to fight for our school and fight for that.
I'll take off my font hat for a minute to say, we want to have McGilbert to be an amazing school, and I think we want to have an amazing district that, we have great private schools, but we want to be in a position where our district can be winning kids back from private across the state. So we are making progress. I think if we keep our voices loud, we will see a very different plan with no closures.
Yes, the next big school board meeting is October 9th, so if you want to get involved with that, we will be there. Thank you.
We're going out of off the agenda just a tad bit. I'm so grateful, Tanya, for you coming tonight. She has another engagement she has to leave for at 7 o'clock. So if you want to come up and just address our group for a little bit, and then we'll come back and talk to you in a bit.
No worries. Time to go.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. And again, also, Murphy's going to be staying from her office as well, so he'll be taking notes, and if anybody has any questions that they want to get answers back from Tanya, this is your person.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, so my name is Tanya. I am the appointed citywide council member.
I'm here to support Councilmember Holly's work. He's been a phenomenal, amazing colleague. But yes, we will be fighting to keep our schools open. I'm visiting McGilwra on Friday morning, I believe. And public safety is our paramount concern, and budget is happening right now. This is where we put our money where our mouth is, and this is a perfectly timed meeting to be able to make sure that our priorities are present in the budget. As you know, we want to be able to hire more officers, and we have slowly been able to do that with offering competitive wages as well as civilianizing the police department. We used to get 5 applications a day, now we're getting 15, so we're able to hire the best. And we're seeing more lateral interest as well, and we're doing more interviews for lateral officer transfers. We've also expanded the care team citywide, which is our social workers who come out and try to connect people to resources. And then Joy and I will be fighting for more funding for LEAD, which is the Lead and Reach, which also offers services to people who are unhoused or people who may be going through mental health issues. And some of our other priorities is making sure that shelters stay open, that the shelters for young people are available, as well as I know Joy has been fighting for youth programming and for our parks. And as the chair of arts and culture, making sure that funding stays within the arts to make sure all the art programming within our parks, within our city will remain and stay. And so I want to make sure that you know that public safety is our paramount importance, our number one priority. And we want to make sure that, your concerns are heard and that what you want to see is also in the budget. So I'm so sorry I have to leave, but I wanted to be here to listen. So Murphy, who is my legislative aide, will be here to take notes and bring back any recommendations, any thoughts, anything you'd like to see so that we can make sure that we see it in the budget going forward. And that will help inform us for the 2025 year as well as 2026. And help us move in the direction we want our city to go in. So thank you so much for having us here today. I'm really honored to be asked to be here, and I look forward to your discussion and hearing your report.
I also want to have Meg Bartley come up and tell us about our Little Beats concert series that's coming up.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Okay, so another fun event that we have planned for this fall and winter is our Little Beats concert series. This was Octavia's real brainchild, but it's been a lot of fun to plan. We have 6 amazing artists, kids artists, that are set to perform the first Saturday of every month from October through March. So we have our first artist this next Saturday, the 5th, this coming Saturday, the 5th. And our performances are going to be taking place just down the street here at Pioneer Hall. They have generously donated their space for us to use, which is amazing because it has a larger capacity and we're really hoping and excited for a good turnout. We have 30 ticket packages sold so far through those ticket sales. And our generous sponsors, Park Shore and an anonymous donor. The cost of the series is completely covered at this point, which is great. So we are just looking at ticket sales now coming back to Friends of Madison Park, which is awesome. But yeah, it's an hour-long performance, first Saturday of the month. We're also looking for any helpers who might want to come and check things out. So feel free to reach out to me or Octavia if you're interested in that. But we're really excited. All the performers are super enthusiastic, great with kids. They have a lot of experience in the area. And I think it'll be a great way to bring families together and also support our local businesses with coffee and treats in the morning or lunch after the concert. I have some flyers that I will leave if anyone's interested or can pass out to families that they might know who would be interested in attending.
What's the age range?
I would say anywhere probably, I want to say 0, but maybe closer to 1. Through maybe age 6, 7-ish, somewhere in there, yeah. but, I mean, my kids will probably be there. They're about to turn 9. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think, all of the performers have a lot of experience with, you know, kids of many ages, so, but yeah, definitely kind of geared more towards the little ones, which will be awesome. So anyways, thank you so much.
Pioneer Hall. I don't know if anyone's been inside there, but if you want to get inside, this is your chance.
How many people out here have been inside Pioneer Hall?
How many are curious about Pioneer Hall?
How many people haven't been inside? So it's a beautiful building, and if nothing else, the curiosity to come and see the inside of Pioneer Hall will be worth the $5 ticket. That's all it costs to get in, $5 a person.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Julia, for mentioning that. Day of tickets, yeah.
25 for the whole thing.
Yeah.
I neglected to mention something that I promised I would mention. Run Club starts this Thursday.
Yeah.
Friends of Madison Park Run Club. We've been posting it, but it's on our website on the events. We've been posting it on Instagram. Brad is going to be leading a 3-ish mile run of,
You can walk, do whatever you want, turn around whenever you want.
you meet at Starbucks. And then afterwards, if you can stay and have coffee or chat for a little bit, please do. And that'll be a weekly, right?
It's 7 a.m. Thursday mornings in front of Starbucks. We'll hang out and grab coffee after, run, walk, do whatever you want. Just come out and be active.
He'll be the one there in running clothes.
Yes.
And if people want to come in, I don't know how many people are in the hall.
We have more chairs too.
Yeah, we have more chairs. So our next item on the agenda is Kevin Larkin is going to talk about our parks and the hope for improvements in the parks in the bathhouse and.
Yeah, I was gonna give you an update since the last time we met, since it's been a couple months. We've been actually pretty busy this summer. A lot of it has been Brendan and Octavia and John and myself going out. One of the big things we did when we met with the city, the Parks Department, they wanted us to go do a survey, sorry. They wanted us to go do a survey. Not only did they want to know what people wanted and what people liked about the park, but they were really interested in the demographics. And so what's really interesting here on this slide is we went out and we surveyed more than 500 people. And in that, it turns out 37% come from our 98112, and the rest of the people that come here are outside of our area. So that's really good for us to get kind of money from the city of Seattle because it says we're reaching beyond our borders. So that's really exciting. We did learn a lot while we did this. The thing that I found most interesting is if you go and you meet the people on the beach, you're thinking that they're going to be there and they don't want to deal with you. And that was not true. Everybody, I would say 99% of the people were excited to be able to fill out a survey and give the feedback because they love the beach so much. I did find out that if you go to a swimming event, like Swim Across America, those people aren't interested whatsoever. So I learned that for this next time. After going through the survey, we have created a vision doc. This is to kind of give some idea to the city of Seattle and the Parks Department, kind of what we want to do and what the people communicated in the survey. Going through real quickly on the survey, I wanted to highlight something that was interesting. So, we asked people about what they liked. The thing that came out that was interesting is they definitely wanted improvements. They were talking about, I'm sorry for the eye chart way back there, but they were talking about how can you make it cleaner? And then we come to the next one. It says, if you could improve the beach, what do? They talk about, if you can clean up the grass, if you can make it clean again. And this theme kept coming along on all these things of what could we do that's small, like taking care of the gardens and making it more presentable. And so to that end, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to form the create a Friends of the Park, which is a program that's sponsored by the Parks Department. And so a group of us can actually work with the Parks Department to make improvements. So we'll work with them about pruning. We might, they want us to have a schedule of at least 3 times a year helping work in the gardens. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that. I think we can make this place pop just by a little elbow grease with the group of us. So I will be reaching out. She's reaching out for volunteers all the time, but I'm going to reach out for volunteers to help us clean up the park. But I'm really excited about that. And then the last thing I just want to highlight is, again, Octavia and Brendan, they're constantly meeting with people from the city, and, you know, the Parks Foundation, trying to figure out how we're gonna put a bigger project together, how we're gonna get money. So I'm just really proud of the work that they've done. So, thank you very much.
Just to add a little footnote to that, I don't know if anyone has walked past the beach and noticed that it's actually been scraped and reseeded. They, to my delight, amazement a little bit, is that I met with the senior gardener here last week, I guess it was, and we discussed that they're broken. The reason we didn't get any watering in the park this summer was that there were 6 broken spots on the irrigation system. And Kevin and I both took lots of pictures, sent them to the city. They met with us, and the next day they were here working on the beach. And they assure us that they're gonna continue to work on it, add soil, they're gonna work through the fall and into next spring. And in partnership with the residents, the neighborhood, we hopefully can really make everything look a lot better, and that'll tide us over, and we can go for the bigger plans, and, you know, that will probably take 5 years or so. But everything has been looking pretty bleak, and that's what came from the survey, and so we're on our way. And so the next item is the farmer's market. So the farmer's market, we have now met with the businesses and the Seattle Farmers Market Association. We have another meeting actually this Wednesday, because we want to be sure that all the businesses are being heard, their concerns, as well as the community, but because this is going to be located in the business district from where the How to Cook a Wolf is down to McGilver's, we're trying to figure out a day that works the best, and just address any concerns. So we've had one business meeting, a really good back and forth with the businesses and the market association. They are still wanting to hear from the community. It looks like if we do this, it will happen from June through September, either on a Thursday afternoon or a Saturday morning. And this is on our website, but you can also come up and get on the QR code and take their survey. Again, it is a short survey, but it will give them the kind of feedback that they need to know of how does this fit in our community, and is it welcome. We have gotten, from their survey results so far, is a huge support for having a farmer's market once a week through the summer. But there are complications, there are concerns, so we're not ignoring those. But hopefully it brings more business to the businesses, and it brings this wonderful market to the community. Okay, that's that. Emergency hub. Margie, yes, come on up.
Ooh, hi. I have a little quick show and tell. I'm Margie Carter, and Dana Armstrong and I just want to give you a quick update. We had Saturday our annual In the Park drill to prepare for emergencies. And if you haven't ever been to one or know about one, we basically set up little stations where after you've secured, in the case of an emergency, after you've secured your own house and helped your immediate neighbors, if you have time or you have needs, you can come over to the park just by the tennis courts, and we'll have stations set up with things like this, where we can set up a mutual aid situation. So I have a generator I could help do something with. I have 15 pounds of beef, but they're gonna go bad, so somebody bring their barbecue and we'll cook. Or I have a medical need, I'm looking for a doctor. So we have things all set up there. We just want to alert you about it. We do this once a year in the park, and we also do what we call a tabletop version of this indoors somewhere during the winter, where we play out scenarios, and neighbor will bring you a request for help or have some things to offer, and how do you figure out how to match them up. You want to add to that?
And I'll just add that Margie and I were talking about that we've been following the news out of North Carolina and looking at the people there without power and water. And I just wanted to say that it's not just earthquakes that can cause a community to need this kind of resource. And just a reminder, the resource only happens if we don't have communications, so it's called a communications hub. So if your phone and internet are working, we probably would not set this up because you have your own network of people that you can reach out to. But, so if you wanna know more, we have brochures out front, and
Oh, I didn't know that there was a drill thing this past weekend. Is there a mailing list or something?
grab a brochure near the front door, and you can, scan it to get on our, there's an email
Great,
right on there. Yes,
and
thank you.
consider coming to our winter indoor drill. The Friends often list us in their newsletter, and we get flyers put around. This year, we actually had 3 retail businesses participate, Starbucks,
Yeah,
the
we
pharmacy.
sent runners to various, the Cook and Store and the Starbucks to.
This is an
gas
emergency
stations.
practice.
Yeah.
Is there any water in here?
Yeah.
So,
We
it
were
was
done
really
for,
fun.
yeah, really fun. So anyway.
And I touched on very briefly, but we have a fall cleanup that is scheduled for November. Ann, do you wanna come up and speak to that real quick? You can bring your dog.
It's not my dog. It's not my dog.
I know a lot. Anybody else need to borrow one?
I don't know if any of you helped at the spring cleanup, but it's kind of the fall version of that. We're needing, of course, volunteers. We have certain volunteers in a different variety of things, just cleaning up, but also acting as block kind of captains. And then we have a table that we'll set up, but it's going to be November 16th, 9 to 12, I believe. And it's just mainly gonna be on the sidewalk, and kind of in the gutter area, just to make things look better. But if hopefully any of you have put your name down on the volunteer list, but, so, any questions or any?
Will it be sunny and warm?
Oh, for sure. I'll make sure.
The fall is a really important time for us to be cleaning the streets because there are so many large trees in our business district and that it gets slippery and a bit dangerous. So the more volunteers we can get, and it will be sunny and beautiful. And if you can come out and help for that day. Let's see, Ann, you wanted to speak about a yard sale.
It's on the 3 blocks. Hi, nice to hear.
My name's Ann Woodford, and maybe you've seen me out there running the Artisans Market in the Bank of America parking lot. It's been really fun, we'll continue it in October and December. But I've had some people approach me about wanting to do a neighborhood garage sale / estate sale. And I have 2 ways this can help. Some people are saying they have apartments, they have things they wanna sell. Do we set up the tables in the bank parking lot and people can sell their goods, or do we do a whole garage sale thing? And of course, we are looking at the spring for this to happen, because if it's a whole neighborhood garage sale, we would like somewhat nice weather to be out there. So if you're interested, how do we do this? Shoot an email to Octavia. And then she'll pass it on to me.
Send it to volunteers at Friends of Madison Park.
Yeah. Volunteers at Friends of Madison Park, if you're interested, and then we'll work on getting that together in the spring.
Kelly, are you there? You wanted to speak about your yard sale.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I'm part of the community, and also I am a parent and board member for the Madison Park Cooperative Preschool. One thing that we are helping to do is we're doing community yoga for everybody. So I have some flyers over there if you're interested. It's every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. or Saturday at 10 a.m. We have a lovely teacher who's also from the community. Class is $15, so just come and you can pay at class, and it's very much focused on relaxation and just taking the mood down from the week. So, hopefully you can come.
Just a couple more little details. The Bush School is also providing parenting classes. There is it's called Parenting University, and it's on our website, the date, but I think it is in a couple of weeks. So, I apologize for not remembering the date.
It's on October 5th, I think.
Thank you. so it's this coming weekend, from 9 to noon. So, if you're interested in one of the parenting programs, it looks really interesting. The other thing is to give you an update on Friends of Lake Court. I know that a few weeks ago, or a few meetings ago, they came to talk about they're working on getting landmark status, so that the building, does everybody know where Lake Court is on 43rd? And it looks like a Canterbury Lodge, sort of place. Anyway, they are working on getting landmark status, and that has been postponed for their hearing on that. It is now scheduled from November 16th. It's now on November 6th. So this gives the neighborhood more of an opportunity to submit their comments about having it be a landmark historic site. That all will be on the website, so on our website. So if anyone wants to promote that.
It's
Yes.
very easy to do. They have it all kind of set up so you can choose one of the segments that they would be nominated for or approved for, and then you just write why you think they qualify for that, like the beauty of the building or historic importance and things like that. It's very easy. It only takes a few minutes, so just get on their website and do that. It'll help them out.
Thank you. So we're actually amazing. So come on up, Jamie. And she's going to give us an update about the Ruth Dalton Memorial. What's going on with the court.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thank you all, to everybody that came out for the memorial walk. It was quite moving. I know it took me quite a while to get over that moving event, and I appreciate all of you guys showing up. I mean, it was pretty cool. And I know Ruth was smiling down on us, especially when all the dogs started barking at the same time during the service. That was unbelievable. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that there is a public celebration of life for Ruth that will be held on Sunday, October 20th from 1 to 5 at Victory Hall at the Box Yard, which is 1201 First Avenue South across from the stadiums. And we're also in the planning phase of establishing a permanent memorial for Ruth here in the park. We're going to be working with our council members to help us get permitting through the city of Seattle, because I understand that's a tedious event, so we're hoping we can get a little leg in. And so we'll be raising monies for that. We're guessing that's going to be somewhere 10,000 plus to do. We've already reached out to the artist that did the bronze statue for Martha Harris in the park. So hopefully we'll get something similar of Prince in memory of her with a little bench. So that's kind of our thought process with a little watering station for the dogs. So that's what we're going to be raising money for. And if you do want to donate to it, and it's probably going to take months, you can donate to Friends of Madison Park, but make sure that you put in the memo section that it's for the Ruth Dalton Memorial. With that said, I know you're not here to listen to me babble on. I would like to introduce my friend, Joy, your city council person, who has been working diligently for our community and has been here, how many times now for meetings? 3?
Yes. I guess.
And participated in the walk for Ruth. So again, Joy, thank you so much for being here, and I know there's a lot of people that have questions and statements that they want to say. So I don't know what your preference is, to make a statement and then do Q&A, or?
Yeah, I was gonna just yell at y'all for 5 minutes. Hear y'all, is that cool?
Perfect.
Thank you, Friends of Madison Park. Y'all feeling good tonight, Madison Park? I have spent plenty of times in Madison Park. Some good, some bad. High school.
Thank God there wasn't social media back then, right?
Yeah, I told someone if there was like a Twitter or Instagram while I was in high school, I wouldn't have gotten a job. Being your council member, I just want y'all to know that. I have a bunch of newsletters that I send out. I printed them all, so I'll leave them here for you all to possibly take or whatever's good. I'm gonna just update you really quick, 5 minutes, about what's going on at council, how it affects you all, and then more than happy to answer whatever questions that you all might have for me, and we'll just go from there. Is that cool? Awesome. Okay, so the first thing, Councilmember Wu talked about a lot of the stuff that's coming out of public safety. So one of the main things that had just gotten passed, obviously the officer thing, which was huge, and getting more applicants as well, but also the investment for the alternative health piece, which is the mental health piece that I think is incredibly important with our care team. Also park rangers, used to be downtown, now that's citywide. These are things that we'll be looking for in the budget to increase. Having a park ranger, I don't know if anyone's seen what a park ranger looks like. They're dressed in green. They come in certain trucks. They have this authoritative look to them, which is great, but they're not armed or anything. They're just more to kind of manage a lot of the activity that's going on in parks. I'm gonna be putting a budget request to have them at Cal Anderson because we need them really bad up there. So there's just certain areas in which, they are mostly needed just to kind of do some crowd management and so that's incredibly important for the mental health piece. The second thing is we had a soda zone come out, and I'm more than happy to explain that. I proposed one for Capitol Hill. I went back and forth talking to the business owners, the people who live up there. Some people positive, negative, whatever it is, but I think most importantly what we're trying to do is disrupt the drug market that's in our city and how it's fueling a lot of the despair on our streets. And I've seen it. I've been doing this for 8 months inside. Obviously we've seen it outside, but been inside. And I've seen the investment that we've made in the health piece, but also for me, it's PIE, prevention, intervention, and enforcement. And you have to have all three working together. It's not targeted at people. How it's being implemented in 2024 is gonna be way different than it was in 2019. We have a ton of guardrails that are on this to make sure that there's no disproportionate impact on communities, to make sure that we're targeting the people that are dealing the drugs to folks. I think one thing that we have to understand as a city is we have all these studies, we have all this information, but it does not pertain to fentanyl. It pertains to different drugs that were on our street before fentanyl hit it. And so that's why I'm taking a hard stance on a lot of the proposals that I'm putting forward, because we have to kind of shift and change up a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, because what we have been is not working for me. So anyways, I'll stop there. The other thing we came down as well. I got to meet with the people at McGillivray School. I know that's huge. I met with the folks at TOPS. There's a bunch of schools that I went to TOPS, one of my favorite schools. I went to Stevens. Didn't have a chance to go to McGillivray, but went to Meany. And then my parents shipped me off to Seattle Prep. That's another story. But that's where I met most of my friends who live down here. But I think what's important is that we know the difference between city council and school district. We learned about the school closures just like everyone else when it came down. We didn't have advance notice. No one told us. It was like boom. And so I have meetings scheduled with some of our school board members to advocate for the schools that are been proposed to close. Like the young lady said, I can't remember your name.
Erica.
Erica, thank you,
Yes.
Erica. These are only proposals. It is not final. And we saw that when Dr. Jones pulled back their community engagement, when they said, hey, we need to come back to the drawing board to look at these schools. I met a ton of people at TOPS. They have a waiting list of 140 kids. Those programs are phenomenal. Anyways, I'm flabbergasted just like everyone else. And so I'm gonna be working with a lot of the PTSA. Is PTSA?
No, we have a PTA. but
PTA.
doesn't matter.
Why did I say PTSA? What is it?
Because you've got PTSD.
Yeah, I'm sorry, PTSA. Announcement wrong. PSA.
Sorry.
Right? Yeah, no, something. Working with the parent groups at the schools to help advocate and use my platform, whatever it is. If I need to talk to our legislators in the 43rd or the 37th, our district is split into two, 43rd and 37th. Whatever it is, I'm gonna be using my platform to talk about that. Do we need to see budget stuff? Whatever it is, I'm gonna be fighting for those schools as well, because I think they're incredibly important to our community. So I wanted to throw that out there. G-Line is finally open, thank God. Half the room clapped. One of the things one of the things that we have to do better as a city is the construction mitigation. J-Line is looking at
in Eastlake is looking at Madison, and they are terrified because of the disruption in the Madison Valley. We lost 12 businesses along Madison. I live 1 block away from Madison. All of this disruptions, everyone talks, we love transit, but it's like, hey, how can we be able to mitigate the impacts a lot better than we have? And so that's one of the things that we're gonna have to improve better on when we do the J line. So I'm having meetings with the people that are most nervous about, and Madison Park should probably be in this conversation too, because this impacts everybody over here. But the construction at 520 with J line, and then the overpass as well, North Capitol Hill is gonna be crippled. And so what we're gonna be doing is having initial conversations to make sure we advocate for, better information, how it gets, out to community, disruptive impacts for construction, traffic mitigation, like all these different things that are coming down the pipeline that are gonna be here in the fall, that are coming immediately. What are we doing about that? I wanna see a plan, I wanna see a communication, I wanna see all these different things, and so that's gonna be really important as we're moving down the line for construction. And then I will say one more thing, budget season. So we're in the midst of budget. We've had our third budget meeting, but it was our second department meeting where departments come and they give presentations. So we'll be doing those all week. The mayor sent down his budget last Tuesday. We are literally, so I just wanna say this, y'all all found out about the Seattle channel like us the same day, okay? So just know there's certain things that have been, moved around in the budget, some things that might have been cut, decreased, all these things. We find out about it the same day as everyone else. So we're doing, the thing that the mayor has is he has 8 months to have to do this budget, and we literally get like 8 weeks to dive in to figure out what's going on. So our North Star for our office, really big, obviously the public safety investments, anything with youth and kids, the arts is gonna be huge for us. That's gonna be that's gonna activate our city. Anything that's artistic and murals and paintings and programming, arts, as well as city services. So our community centers, our parks. I'm really happy. Usually I hear about all the bad stuff that happens about parks. So it was really good to hear that they came and they were responsive. I can't begin to tell you all how great that is. But to make sure that our parks department, we have enough maintenance workers, we need more boots on the ground. We need more people taking care of the trees that we're planting and the bushes and just maintenance. But I also want people to understand what a park department maintenance person has to deal with in 2024 is way different than what my dad did it 30 years ago. Yeah. And so, what I'm trying to reestablish is like, hey, they're on the front lines of a lot of the social health stuff that's going on in our city and a lot of the things that are going on in our parks. So just being cognizant of that, understanding that they have to do a different job than what they had to do 20, 30 years ago. And then how do we make sure that, we're investing in that as well. So I will stop there and I will answer your questions. Whatever you want to ask me, you can be mad about a vote I took, you can yell at me, you could ask questions, whatever it is, I'm telling you, I'm not offended. I'm more than happy to explain what's going on. Yes?
Is the issue with some of these things from officers to park workers, is it a budget issue that we don't have money to hire people, or is it hard to find people who want the jobs?
Thank you, Tanya. Great question. It's good to see you too. Your question was, say that again, the issue with?
Is the issue that we don't have budget to hire people, more parks and rec people and more police officers, or is it we can't find people who want the jobs?
Yeah, no, we have
Either or is it both?
No, we have the budget. I'll be frank, the tone of the council needed to change in the beginning of the year. Number 2, the competitive wages for officers. Number 3, we also have to change a little bit of the culture in SPD. We need more women at the table to be able to be in SPD. And then also it's about moving some of their calls. Half the calls that go into 911 are usually like mental health, something that, is like where police officers shouldn't just be answering. It should be our care team. It should be a mental health professional. It should be who should be compensated just as much as our officers if they're going out into these things. So yeah, that's really the thing. But we just passed a lateral officer bonus, so we're hoping that we get some lateral officers into our department. And also Chief Roar has been amazing. She is absolutely amazing with the energy she brings and kind of the restructuring of some of the SPD and the culture. I think has been a really
What
great
does a
change.
lateral officer mean?
Yeah, so a new recruit would be someone who doesn't have any experience, they just come in as a new recruit. Lateral is like someone who might be working at Bellevue, and they want to just do a lateral into Seattle Police Department, as long as they meet certain qualifications. Yes, ma'am.
Can you elaborate on what I heard starts in maybe the 1st of October, and it's that the police aren't gonna be responding to any alarms?
Yeah, so this came out from Seattle Police Department regarding they were not gonna respond to certain alarm calls unless there was an active crime taking place. We got that information just like everyone else, and so that's something that we're gonna be looking into, how many calls that is, how does it impact. We've received a lot of information from alarm companies saying that that would, really hurt them in certain communities. So that's something we'll be looking into. I don't have an answer right now, but it's something that I'll look into and I can get back.
Okay.
Yes.
I think you called it the soda.
Yeah.
Initiative.
And I'll repeat answers in the back so you all can hear it as well.
So I've heard a bit about this on the news.
Yeah.
And I'm just very curious and feeling a little skeptical, frankly, about how it can be enforced. If our city really has the resources to enforce locating a person who's in violation of where they're not supposed to be and, making sure that they're not coming back. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the question was, how do we enforce soda? What does that look like if we don't have enough officers to be able to enforce that? Did I say that right?
Can we explain what soda is?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry. They have me down at City Hall, so I speak in acronyms.
Yeah.
I can just, DDT and PDT and whatever. So soda, so there's two things that pass. First thing is called stay out of drug area. The second thing that passed was called stay out of prostitution area. Soda, which is the stay out of drug area, was first initiated from our city attorney for two areas in Seattle. 3rd Pike Pine and Jackson, 12th and Jackson.
Did this happen recently, or is this a long time ago?
This correct, this just happened.
Okay.
We've all been there, we've seen what those two areas look like,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so that came down to committee, and then all of different council members looked at a lot of the data. There was a second tier data, so it showed most drug referrals came out of those two areas. That's where the officers went in, they would potentially arrest someone, or a social worker would go down there and they would send drug referrals to different organizations that could do resources or, court system, those two areas. The second tier was Capitol Hill was one, University District was the other, and Pioneer Square. So they gave us, this was all data driven. They said, hey, here's our first tier where we get most of our drug referrals at city attorney. Here's the second level. So we looked at all this. The one thing that I was nervous about, and I'll go into detail how it's enforced, was the two areas that were proposed. There's a triangle. There is 12th and Jackson, there is downtown, and there's Capitol Hill. And that triangle is constantly active. When I get reports constantly from Captain Tran, who is East Precinct. I get intel information from referrals. I'm constantly looking at data and information, and I was nervous about a lot of that stuff getting unfortunately pushed to Capitol Hill. And so I'm trying to protect the grocery store that's on Capitol Hill. There's a senior place, Gen Pride, that's right there. There's also a daycare at the north end of this soda zone as well. And so what this does is we know who some of the dealers are, we know who some of the people that are repeat folks who might, break into a building 30 times, right? Or have these, the police know who they are. What this will do is try to disrupt a pattern where the police will say, hey, they get arrested, they go in front of a judge, and the judge says, hey, you have to stay out of this area, these soda zones, because we're trying to disrupt the pattern of drug distribution. Some people might say, hey, Joy, you're just pushing it to another neighborhood. Can't you make the whole city a soda zone? The data doesn't say that, right? So what we're doing right now is targeting these, but I can assure you, I've talked to the officers people on First Hill, people North Capitol Hill, other areas, to say, hey, this place, we have to make sure that it doesn't get pushed out. Can you make sure you do extra patrols? Can we send more park rangers in certain areas? We're gonna really be doing in addition to that, is gonna be investment in the cleanliness of Capitol Hill, in these areas. Sweeping of the streets, better lighting, certain environmental changes as well, that's gonna make it more a welcoming environment. And so that's how that's going to be enforced. For soap, which is stay out of prostitution area, they've had 30 shootings in 60 days on Aurora. There are 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-old girls right now on Aurora. We've gotten the data and information. We are trying to save people that are right now have been kidnapped, and they're on Aurora. And so if we can, and what it is, it targets, and we had a judge, Kathy Moore, who sponsored and wrote this, a judge. She knows the system, so we can be able to go and target the pimps and johns. I don't know if there's any kids in the rooms, I'm just talking, are there? Okay.
Will we be able to
Sorry.
enforce it though? I mean, I can see that basically you're gonna say stay out of there, but I mean, the police seem like they're so busy, who's gonna enforce that?
Yeah, it's a tool. It's not, we don't, and I want to give a shout out because Victoria Beach is here. She's our District 3 liaison. I know she had another event, so I really appreciate you taking time. She can also answer some police questions as well. It's more of a tool. So it's like, hey, you have to, if you get arrested in these areas, you get a fine. There's punishment to be able to be in those areas. And it's for us to really target the Johns and the pimps, and we can take the girls off the street. There's a $2 million budget request for receiving center. Once those girls come off the street, they go into a receiving center to get all the resources they need and back into, safety.
And what, I'm
Yes.
sorry, and what about the soda area? Who's gonna keep them out?
Yeah, our police, that's like really the key, and then we're gonna rely on people, like right now, there are people that are like, hey, I see this car every day circling the block and, dealing drugs. Like, I have people saying, sending me a photo being like, this is the person that we have. So, it's part of a tool to be able to help, like I said, disrupt, and we're gonna be relying heavily on our community to like help advocate and help the officers not locate folks, but just identify folks actively. And they have already, people have been doing that constantly.
You had
Yes.
mentioned the Capitol Hill grocery store. Do you also have particular interest on 15th? Because I know that I used to live up in North Capitol Hill. 15th was a place that I used to walk down all the time. It feels a lot more dicey now than ever.
Yeah.
And people should also be looking there, I think.
Absolutely, I just met with that BIA on 15th. BIA means Business Improvement Area. Sorry. So we have 2 in our district. We have Broadway, that's a business improvement area, and we have 15th, that's a business improvement area. The businesses tax themselves, and then they provide services to the businesses around there. I'm talking with them right now. There is a developer who's building a 5-story apartment building on there. And we're gonna be doing some lighting, some renovations, some street activations, some murals. Like, I think 15th has an opportunity to really look good, especially since Kaiser is right there and they're interested in just making, just 15th look well. The 15th is very vulnerable because a lot of those small businesses, they own their own buildings. So they're not in some massive building, they own a lot of those buildings. And so we have to protect it, but I've been actively talking with them about protecting the Safeway that's gonna get redeveloped, and also that there's the old QFC that's gonna be renovated as well.
Okay.
Yes.
This may sound so, I don't know, out of TV, but like, what about cameras? Are cameras like, well, are they too controversial, or can we?
That's next on our list, so that's in our Public Safety Committee right now. Our cameras that are on, and Vicki, help me if I'm right about the cameras. Do you know all the locations where they've been proposed? I don't wanna put you on the spot.
Are you talking about ShotSpotter or something like that?
CCTV, the real-time
No,
crime
I
center.
don't know, but I know when we were talking about that, it was,
No worries.
Aurora,
Yeah,
South End.
so that we have some, Aurora, Third Pike and Pine, Third Pike and Pine, Aurora. There's also one, potentially in the south end.
Reddit Beach.
There's talks about 23rd Avenue.
What about like even just general populated areas like bus stops or, you know, like before Ruth Dalton was murdered, the person was seen multiple times by various people in our community who said he looked out of sorts and whatnot, and nobody knew where he really came from. And, you know, if I saw someone who looked like they were kind of out of their mind, I don't really know who to call or what to do to say, here's someone who needs help, right?
Yeah.
So I just cross the street, I stay away, and I hope. But I know they're dangerous. I came out of my office once because I was at the base of Madison, and there was a guy with a machete. And I'm just like, oh, and I ran back to my office and called my husband, and I'm just like, okay.
So, you know what, always call 911 and they can point you or they'll take over.
Right. But I know that they don't really, you can get on hold and it's like not always,
Well, especially with the machete, no, you wouldn't be on.
Yeah, what we're told is constantly to call 911 because they are so data oriented and just call 911. I know it feels like we are going through a very rough patch in our city. I feel it. I grew up here 4 generations deep, but I also feel a turning point right now in getting more first responders and public safety and just making city services work a lot better. And I think, you know, we're reaching a rough patch because we've been impacted by, you know, decisions that were made in our city, you know, a couple of years ago and this last year and the year before that. But I do feel like we're turning a turning point, so please continue to call 911. That's like the biggest thing that
so
you
is
can
that
do.
the protocol if we see someone out of sorts or?
Yeah, call
Call 911
911.
and just mention it, that you see someone that might need help.
Yeah, call 911. And a lot of people say, Joy, we don't want to, if we see someone who might be having a mental crisis, we don't want to call 911 because we don't want the police to come and weaponize it. They don't send the police, they send the care team, they might send, you know, a provider. It's like, you gotta call 911. We're trying to destigmatize the 911 piece. Or they might send the fire department, Health One, CSOs, community service officers.
What?
They might send community service officers, CSOs.
And then one last question,
Yeah.
all the sort of the unhoused that are camping and creating villages around, is there any movement on finding, a better plan?
Yeah, you say that one more time. Is there movement on finding a better
So
plan for the
like all
people
the
in the park?
unhoused, I noticed actually like on Martin Luther King, where there
Yeah.
used to be like a whole row that kind of like disappeared a little bit and then they sort of repopulate. But, you know, is there a grand plan to address that?
Yeah, so we have our unified care team, UCT. I didn't, UCT, unified care team, that literally is a connection of 10 city departments that, and some people call them sweeps. This team is not a sweep. They literally go into a park, they say, hey, who, you know, they try to figure out, hey, they offer shelter, resources, all these different things to folks and restore the park or the area back to where everyone can enjoy, which I think is incredibly important. And so we've seen the mayor's increased budget for that, and they also have data as well on the website, which shows, you know, all this information. And so that's that's the initial piece. We also need more shelter beds. And so that's one thing that we have proposed in the budget as well, to continue to have more shelter beds. In terms of MLK, I'm working with SDOT to do 4-hour parking time zones along MLK to try to deter some of the RVs. Now, I know some people might say, some of those RVs are literally where a lot of people just do drugs in them, some of them. There's other ones where, you know, it's somebody's home and it's, you know, you have to be a delicate balance on those. But some, you know, it's just, yes, we're gonna be addressing that. But yeah, it's a difficult situation. I see here, oh, there, and then in the back, and then we'll come there and then there. And then right here, sorry.
You keep mentioning UCT and getting people connected with resources. What kind of shape are we actually in with respect to those resources? And to me, one of the most important ones is affordable housing.
Yeah. So your question is, what type of resources
What kind
are?
of shape are we in as a city
Yeah.
to actually provide the resources that people need,
Yeah.
and specifically affordable housing, because there's a direct correlation between the price of housing in a city and the size of the homeless population.
Yeah. Okay, so your question is what type of shape are we in with resources and then affordable housing?
Yeah, well, specifically, the most important resource to me is affordable housing, but
Fair enough.
resources
So-
in general. You keep saying, oh yeah, we have this team that's gonna connect them with resources, but
Yeah.
if the resources aren't adequately there,
Yeah.
then we're just have a cycle.
Correct. I think it's a four-part system with homelessness. I think it's affordable housing crisis. It's a mental health issue. It's a substance use disorder. And there are a lot of people preying on vulnerable folks. We have to split it away. I'm not cool with just saying, oh, that's a homeless person. There are four things going on there.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be really strategic in that assessment, because if we just say, hey, it's just an affordable housing problem, that's just not.
I didn't say it was just an affordable housing problem, but I feel like it's the piece that, it's like the elephant in the room that no one addresses.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Especially the elephant in the city council room that nobody addresses.
Our biggest investment, if you see this year with the budget, is over 300 million in affordable housing projects. This year, 2017, it was $50 million. Like, it has blown up substantially. And so those investments that are in affordable housing are incredibly needed. The issue is the cost of construction in our city, permitting, how much it costs for land acquisitions, how much it costs for just construction of the facility. And so that's one thing that we're working on with streamlining permitting, making sure that projects are not SPU and Seattle City Light, that they're not tacking on charges as well, so we can get the cost down significantly. And we change our zoning laws, and that's gonna be really big in the comprehensive plan.
And in the past, a lot of the affordable housing has been like, people get grants to have these units be affordable for a couple of years and then they become market rate.
Yeah.
So are we really creating with that 300 million permanent affordable housing, or are we just sort of creating a few units for a few years that then become market rate?
The one thing I'll be fighting for, the biggest one, is workforce housing for our teachers, for our first responders, for the people that are doing EMTs, our firefighters. Like, that's the
I'm
biggest.
just gonna say, teachers make like 50,000 more than the paras that work in the schools. There's a lot of people that are working very hard that aren't even anywhere in the range of what teachers are making.
I understand what any educator, anybody works in a school. The lunch woman, the person, the janitor, I got you. Like, that's who I'm gonna, the bus drivers, those are who I'm gonna be fighting for workforce housing, which, you know, I think is incredibly important in our city. But I can get back to you on the investment specifically in this budget regarding because the affordable housing piece is huge, how much we're investing as a city.
Thank you.
And we need to do more. But we also need to hold providers accountable too with how they're producing housing.
As far as shelters for homelessness, I know that we've done a pretty good job of having a bunch of tiny home villages all throughout Seattle to help get people in during the colder months.
Yeah.
How many do we still have? Are those still like successful? Kind of speak to that if you can.
Yeah, there's two different models. There's the Lehigh model, low income housing institute, where they're the provider, they buy the land, they get the houses, the tiny homes on there, and then they operate it. And then there's the Nicholsville model, where the Nicholsville is they still have tiny homes, but they run them themselves. So they are their own, you know, entity, their own village. The cost comparison is way different. Nicholsville run very lean because there's no middle person. It's just themselves. Lehigh's a little bit different how they operate. The issue with the tiny homes is the land piece, finding land. We have tiny homes that are ready to go on properties, but it's trying to find land. So that's something that we're gonna be working on with the Regional Homeless Authority, King County Regional Homeless Authority. That, to be honest with you, was it was a failure, and we still have to continue to believe in it, but there needs to be a lot of adjustments. One of the things is they didn't believe in tiny homes. That was one of the biggest keys, and so a lot of the tiny home providers weren't funded at the levels that they should have been to be able to have more. So the regional homeless authority is gonna be something that we are completely restructuring. I still think it's a regional approach, but we have to have a better accountability and impact for the money that we're pouring in as a city.
Do you happen to know if we still have like 19 communities? I know there were like a number of them all over. Do you know?
I don't know how many. I know we have 2 Nicholsville. We have at least 3 Lehigh that I know of in our district, but not sure how many total in the city. But I can get back to you.
Yeah, I can look into it.
No worries.
Gentleman in the back?
Yeah, can you update us on where we are on the war with graffiti?
Yeah.
Some of us find it horrible.
Yeah.
And we imagine if there's graffiti there, it must be crime there. That's what goes through your head.
Yeah.
Probably not graffiti. But could you update us on the graffiti war?
Yeah, so we have graffiti rangers within the city of Seattle. They're with our Seattle Public Utilities Department. They have been transitioned in the mayor's proposal, funded still the same, but for our Seattle Parks Department. What that does is most of the graffiti is in our parks, so they would be able to handle it faster, more efficiently, and quicker. They know where stuff is, they kind of know where the spots are, where people are constantly potentially graffitiing. And so that's gonna be a piece of the painting over stuff. The second piece we need to do a better job of, I just think there need to be more murals in the city, decorating a bathroom, beautiful. It's very gray here, right? If anyone's been to the Wynwood neighborhood in Miami, it's a phenomenal place where people can go and see beautiful murals. I envision Capitol Hill being a place where you see all these walls where you have beautiful murals on them, then you don't have a lot of graffitis. But I understand a lot because I go to First AME Church, which is a historical Black church, and we get graffitied all the time. And I can't begin to tell you how like disappointing it is to see a 70-year-old Black man climb up on a ladder to get rid of graffiti that's on a historical landmark for the first Black church in the state of Washington, right? So it's like, so I hear that piece, that's gonna be the painting over piece, but also the preventative piece is gonna be huge. But I think we're gonna see a better service with our, it being moved into park department, streamline a little bit better and cleaner.
There was somebody in this room.
There are 4 townhouses across the street, across from the tennis courts. My octogenarian mother was living in one. One of her neighbors, one of the other 4, was broken into and cleaned out on Christmas Day. And where I lived, a few blocks south, on Hillside Drive East, in the 39th Avenue East from the Gilbert Boulevard, Hillside area, there were so many break-ins and big-time robberies in the early months of the year that about 100 neighbors banded together and were paying for private security to drive around. And so my question to you and to our liaison from the police department is, could you tell us something about property crime statistics in the neighborhood? Is it worse than it has been? Is it better? Are we just imagining things?
Yeah, so the data will tell you that it's better. However, people aren't calling 911 because I get the email sent to me about the property crime and people not reporting it. So those data statistics I know are off. So I don't know specifically, I can't tell you like, hey, these are they'll tell you property crime is going down. I don't believe it at all because I've talked to so many people about some of the robberies that are going on in the city. So I can get back to you on those numbers. But what I do know is that when some of these actions happen, like when you said in McGillivray area, Boulevard, McGillivray, yeah, McGillivray Boulevard, we didn't have and I tell people, hey, just give us a little patience and time, and I know it's hard because you're like, but I'm getting robbed, Joy. Someone advocating to our police department in our district as a council member to say, hey, this is what I'm here, because if you're not reporting it, then they don't go to that, but I do, right? I hear about it, so I'm telling the police captain, hey, this is where stuff is happening, can you go down there and talk to the neighbors and check and help advocating for that? So what I'm telling people is continue to put it in at 911 or just file a police report. You can follow up with our office and we'll continue to follow up with the police captain to make sure we're putting emphasis on patrols.
So I can say, and I have a few cards, you can always call me also if you reported it and you don't see or hear anything, but you have to call 911. Otherwise, your neighborhood will not get the attention that you want. Another thing, I'm sorry I'm late, so I don't know what I missed. Every meeting I go to, everybody says the same thing. Why aren't the police patrolling my neighborhood? Why don't we see more? We are so low with police, it's scary. You know, I always say if criminals were smart, they could take this city over in a heartbeat. And, so it's, I mean,
Vicky, don't scare them.
No, I tell the truth, and they don't want me telling the truth, but I deal with a lot of what you guys deal with in my neighborhood. I'm tired of hearing gunfire. The other night I heard it and I thought, should I report it or not? Well, I should report it. But, call 911. Some people are afraid to call 911. I don't wanna tie it up. Call. Even if you're not sure, still call. And I can say I also work with our new recruits. I teach a couple of classes with Before the Badge, and we're starting to get more. For a while we were getting none. We went weeks without none, then we would get one. We have 9 now, and I hear we're getting about 8 this week. And so, it's so very slow, and it takes a year for them to be actually out on the street. But, we'll get there. It's, you know, I want them patrolling my neighborhood, and, I don't see them like I used to. And if anybody knows anybody, and I'm dead serious, male, female, have them apply. You know, if you want change, be the change. And there's no age limit. We hired a 63-year-old. and he's tougher than this.
But please, the biggest thing is file the police report, and you can kick it to our office, you can kick it to Vicky, and we'll continue to follow up with the East Precinct.
I'd just like to also just echo Zeola's comment about the cameras. I would take the soda zones a lot more seriously if we were gonna put up cameras in those zones, all of them.
They're gonna go in half, so I hear you.
What is the, you know, like in the.
We've got people that have been raising their hands, so go ahead, you're next.
Hi, sorry, I'll be quick. Yeah, this all sounds great, all these great changes, thank you. It sounds like a lot of them are reactionary, and I hear the preventative measures like social housing, education, they're really hard to create, they cost a lot of money. And we're all seeing that there's a bigger and bigger wealth gap every year. More millionaires, more billionaires in Seattle, and there are more people on the street. And so there's a lot of talk like, how are we gonna fund these preventative measures? And one of them is a progressive tax. And, or initiative 137,
Yeah.
which was going to actually take money from a company that pays employees more than $1 million. Like if it pays an employee more than $1 million, that's a wealthy company, clearly. It's going to take money from that company, I'm guessing a reasonable amount, I'm not a politician, and fund social housing. And, yes, the progressive taxes that don't hurt people that need their money, like middle-class people and not poor people, those would be great. And I hear all this talk about progress being made, but recently the city council put another initiative to combat that progressive initiative. So it doesn't seem like we're actually getting that response from the city council. Do you have any more like progressive taxes or like preventative measures? These all sound very reactionary.
Yeah, so great question. One of the things that I ran on is redefining what progressive means in Seattle, which means progress. And I think everyone in this room, doesn't matter, they would pay whatever it is in taxes if we saw progress and impact. And one of the issues that we have in our city is seeing impact. You could raise taxes all you want, just like we could have as many officers as we want on the street. If we don't have enforcement or actual ways to enforce certain laws where people can be held accountable, doesn't really matter. So in terms of the progressive piece, the investments that we made, I could go down the line with the amount of investments for the drugs, what do you call it, harm reduction, millions of dollars, or $20 million every year to the Board of Health for drug issues, or the investments of $300 million that we propose for affordable housing pieces. People want to see the impact, and so people might, I don't know what news you read or whatever. Some people have certain perspectives, whether it's The Stranger or Public Polar or other stuff, right? About what we're doing as a council. I'm more than happy to follow up with you in regards to all the investments that are at the root cause to what's going on in the city.
Okay, I would just love
Actually,
the
Paul.
distribution.
You've only got
Say that again, I'm
just
sorry.
1 second.
What'd you say?
Oh, I just said I would love a more even distribution.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone wants to see really like better impact as well. Seattle has always been a giving city. We've always been a loving city. It's just, we need to see impact as well. And I think that's really, really incredibly important. And with impact, you have to have transparency and accountability for stuff. People will give more money, but we have to have the impacts that we need. It's just not, hey, we're gonna throw more money. We have to have impact that we wanna see.
So we have 2 more hands up, can we get those two and then?
Yeah, actually, you don't have to apologize, we cut us off, we have to be out of here at 8, and I want people to get a chance to maybe
got it.
talk about the many things. But I know that Joy has been extremely responsive, and I think would love to continue on this. Please email me, because I want to also show you all of the programs that are being funded amazingly, and then stuff that we need to invest in more. So,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody. There's flyers up here from Joy, there's information about events.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Energetic.